welcome to episode 12. So in our previous episode, we looked at sales analytics, and I think they went well. We did a lot of work. In today's episode, we're just going to look at expense model. Today I was not having really the vibe. I think I have some sort of like a burnout, not feeling really like coding, but nevertheless, I was like, I have to come and I do this. Sometimes I just come and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. From there, I'll just pick the vibe maybe. So just go ahead and just try to see if we can just like do the expenses, as we are trying to reduce as many things to do on our app. So there is expenses. You can see the screen. You can be able to add expenses, and I think that's why here we have gross profit. I think supposed to be total sales minus total expenses to get the gross profit. So this is really nice. Let's go ahead and do with expenses. So as you can see, the expense has title, has amount, and has all these others. So it is dependent on three. It has payee, it has a category and the shop. I think payee is the person that is going to receive the payment. Uh, so we just like create these other dependent models. So I'm just going to go ahead and I just open up the schema, and down here I'm just going to start with, I think, let me just go and copy, for instance, the small something like this, start with. So I'll just go down here and I will just paste this and I will call this payee. Okay. And you just like say a payee has a name and maybe a phone number, only that. Yes, you call also this as a string, and that's it. We might just like in future, I don't know like the details for the payee for sure. I don't know. I don't have this form, but for now, just add these two. Then another one is going to be expense category. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Sorry, I will simply duplicate this model, and we're just going to have expense category. So expense category, just like this. Now this is going to have the, since it is a category, is going to have exactly like this category, just like this, name and slug. I think that are the two things we just need, name and slug. And this one is going to be add unique, maybe just like this. Okay. You could just also put this one to be at unique. Okay. Moving on, you can see we have another one, which is the shop. Now we already have the shop. That's the good thing. Now we can just go ahead and just create the expense itself. Sorry. So I'm just going to duplicate this and just going to name this as expense. Okay, and the name, so just go and start by filling in, it has a title, so you can just say title. It doesn't a slug, so it has the payee ID. So I'm just going to go here and select one of these ones. I think I'm just going to copy this relationship and paste it in here. So for instance, this one is going to be the payee ID, and this one is going to be the payee, and this one will be payee. This is going to be the payee ID. Okay. Next is going to be the category ID. So here I'm just going to just add category ID. category ID, and this one is also going to be category, and this one is going to be expense category, just like this, and this one's going to be category ID. So for these two, just simply add in this one, we're just going to have expenses, and this is going to be of type expense, just like this. Copy this, and let's also go ahead and add it here in expense category. And let's say you're just going to add it in the shop. So just going to go ahead and add it here in the shop, just like this. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the expense down here, and let's add one more relationship, which is going to be the shop ID. So here, sorry, I'm just going to first duplicate this, which is going to be a shop ID, and then duplicate also this, which is going to be shop, and this is going to be shop, and this is going to be shop ID, just like this. So we are done with our model now. We're just going to have to add in some other things in the expense. So up here, after we have the date, I don't know if we just need to add the date since we have the created art, but let's just like add the date because this date can be different. So just going to just see here expense date, expense date is going to be of type daytime. Okay, I'm just going to give it at default of 9. Okay, just like this. But then we can always just change this expense date. And then we have the amount and the description. So we have down here amount. We have the amount, and then we have the description, which is also a string. So this one is not going to be, we could just give it not required. And then the file is the files, now attach files. So we're just going to call them attachments. So here I'm going to say attachments. So this is going to be string array, just like this. Okay, so these ones, they don't have, even if you don't put this, they will not be required by default. So since the attachments, they can be like 2 receipts or even more than that. And I think that's the data we need for this model. For the things which are required, the title, do we need we don't need a slug for sure. We have title, amount, description, attachments. So the only thing that is required are these ones plus the payee, category ID, and the shop ID. Those ones are required. As you can see, amount, the date, and this one. Okay, great. So the first thing you have to work on is working on these two things, the payee and the expense category. So I'm just going to go to where we have these categories. You can just go ahead and duplicate this, Control V. We can just say expense categories. We can first say this, create expense category. So here, expense category. And I think expense category is the same. If you go in the schema, it has name and the slack. So if you just go back here, expense category, name and the slack, existing category, the only thing we just have to change is this one. Let's first make some, let's first push this. npx prisma db push and npm run Dave. Okay, so that's great. Now, if we just come here, we can just now access the expense category. So we just change this to expense. Just going to copy this, and that's the only thing that you need to do. Create new category here. Okay. Get expense categories, get expense categories, and this is going to be expense category. Okay. Get single expense category, expense category. Just come here and get this. Okay. Update expense category. And then if it is existing, then we just go ahead and find the nick here. Okay. Then we can update. And finally, we can just delete expense category. And just here is this. And that's all. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate this. Still categories. I'm just going to duplicate this and I'm just going to name it as payees. I don't know if it is like the plural of that. Create payee. So here just going to be having here create payee. Now this one we just need only a name, I think, and the phone. So existing is going to be by phone, and this is here payee. This is going to be existing payee, and then we can just say existing payee here. Uh, okay, then you're just going to say new. This is going to be payee, and this is going to be the phone. Let me hope I added the phone. Yeah. Okay, so you create, and then here we just return the new payee, and then I say get payees. Await, so here is going to be payees, await payee, and here is going to be payees. Then here is going to get single payee, just like this. Okay, very simple, just like this. Existing payee. So here, okay, update So we just get here back before, and this is going to be existing payee, and here is going to be existing payee. Okay, and then here is going to be phone. This is going to be existing payee. Okay, and this is going to be payee. And we can just say here, existing payee by phone. Okay, and then now update payee, payee, and this is going to be the phone. Supposed to be updated payee, updated payee. Finally is delete payee. We're just going to get a payee, and if there is no payee, you say payee not found. Just go ahead and delete it, and just like this. So we have all now the expense categories, the payees, and the shops. We already have those ones. So now finally, just go ahead and create the expense. So you can just also go ahead and duplicate one more time this category, and let's call this one expenses. And now can I say here create expense, and this one we're just going to go back here, and we can just go ahead and get all these things from here: title, amount, description, attachments, expense date, payee ID, category ID, and shop ID. Those are the things we need for this. So just come back here, and I'm just going to put all of them here. Let me just go ahead and put commas. The word attachments, this is not the spelling. Quick fix attachments. There is no T, so I will just copy this and I will rectify it. So we can just go to Prisma and change this name of attachments to the right spelling. And before you forget, you should just like put these changes. Okay. So just go ahead and copy this. And now let's go so slowly. It's going to be, first of all, there is nothing unique here. I believe so. There is nothing unique in the expense. Yeah, we don't have anything unique. So we really don't need these existing things here. Okay, so create expense. So you're just going to say create expense. It's going to be new expense is going to be equal db.expense dot create, and let's put these ones. And now we return the created expense, and here's going to be new expense. Another one is getting the expenses. So get expenses, get expenses is going to be here. Expenses is equal to here expenses. And then here just return expenses. And then here we get single expense. And here we can just say we get the ID, and we first see if we have this existing expense. Here is expense. Okay, and then you just say here expense does not exist. Okay, so here we just return the existing expense. We can just update expense. Okay, let's just go ahead here, get this. So here in the update expense, I'm just going to go ahead and get this. We have to first get the existing expense by just going here expense, and then here just going to have existing expense. Here you see expense, and here there is no the need of this. Just simply update the expense, and you're just going to be updated expense. Okay, and then here the data is this one. So here we get the existing expense. Here is expense. And finally is delete expense. So you just first get this. Okay. Just we find it, and we can just say here expense. And then we can just say here expense. And then we delete it. So this marks all of them. Let's just go to the routes. Delete the cut, copy this. Okay, so the first one is going to be the payee. So you can just come here and first get this router, and we can just say payee router. And then here we can also replace this with the payees. First one is going to be create payee. This one is going to be get payees. This is going to be get single payee. Update payee by ID, and this is going to be delete payee, just like this. Done, and you can just go here and remove this. Okay, then you can just go ahead to the second one, and you can just name this one expense category, expense maybe cut. And instead here, you can just say here, create this as expense category router. Okay. And then we can just come here, and this one is going to be expenses. Yes, expenses categories. This one has to be, I think, expense categories. Okay, so the first one, the first router is going to be here, create expense category. Second one is going to be get, and here we could just say get expense categories. Get expense categories. We have this one, get single expense category. And then this one is update. So you can say update still expense category by ID. And then lastly is going to be delete expense. Okay, so we have all these. And lastly is going to be the expenses. So this one is going to be expense.ts. And we can start by just creating the router. It's going to be expense router, just like this. And this one's going to be, first of all, you can first replace this with expenses. And this is going to be create expense, get expense, and then this is going to get single expense, update, single expense, expense by ID, and this is going to be delete expense. So lastly, to connect them here in the index, you can just come here, and with the three, you have the first one, which is going to be the payee router. There is expense category router, and then there is the expense router itself. Okay, so just add the three routes. For expenses, we already have the shop. We can just go ahead and create a list a payee. We can start by just going here, and let's go ahead and duplicate. We can duplicate where we have like categories. I'll come and duplicate this. And here we're just going to have payee. The first one is going to be create payee. So here's going to be like payees. So for the payee, we said we can provide the title and the name. What is the name? Let's just look at this. Create payee. Okay, we have the name and phone. Name and phone. So the name, let's just say here Gerard K. And then this is going to be the phone 0784143. I'm just going to put this and let's go ahead and post this. Okay, so okay, this is not supposed to be a slug, it's supposed to be phone. Let's send one more time and this should be okay. So you can see it has been created. You can just rename this and create payee, save, and then just go to the next one, which is a get payees. Okay, so you can just go here and in the create, let's create another one. Okay, test. Of course, if we send with this one, is already going to refuse that. Okay, so this one is supposed to be the phone number, I think. Okay, but just go ahead and say here, just going to send only one thing here, creating this for delete. So if we just come here to get payees, just like this, save and go here, you see we have two of them, get single. So here you can just copy one of these IDs, get single, and let's go ahead and change this to payees. And you can see it there. And the last, you can update. For instance, this is the years. You can add this. You can go in the body and you can change, for instance, updated. Then here phone to whatever. You can just change. Okay, if you just send this is going to refuse, I guess, because of this phone number. And you could just like say that this is here the phone. They could just like specify that the this phone is already existing. Okay, I'm just going to uh, go to the one I want to update. The phone number is, so here is one last. Okay, so send this and now you can see this gets updated. You can just go ahead and delete this and just put the ID and just put here payees and you can send this will be deleted. Okay, you can confirm by this one is update payee. This is delete payee. So you can just go ahead, go get the single like this, and it does not exist. Great. So this one is done. We can just go ahead and duplicate also categories one more time. and we can just name this as expense categories. So this one is going to be expense categories. I'm just going to leave them with the same names, create category, and these ones are going to be on expense categories. So here is like expense categories. The body is going to be the same as the slug. So for instance, I just say here office accessories. Slug is going to be office accessories, just like this. Let's create, and you can see it has been created. Let's create a second one. You can just say here allowances, and even this one allowances. Okay, just going to go ahead and create this, and finally I'm just going to create the test. Okay, so you can just go ahead. I'm just going to copy this. We have gate categories, so this one should be expense categories. And you can see we get all of them. Get single, and this is going to be expense categories. And if we pass along one, let's pass a correct one. Okay, just update. You can just get your test updated, and let's pass the ID. This one has to be expense categories, and you can see it has been updated. And you can just go ahead and also delete the category. So you can just go here, pass in this, and let's go ahead and just say expense categories. Expense categories. Uh, is saying for or for like let's just check. Let's just go here in these routes. The last one is okay. Expense categories. So work. Oh, it says something went wrong. Mhm. We can just go to here and see the problem. Let's go to this expense here category. Okay. Let's run one more time. Okay, so good. So what I'm just going to do right now is to create the expense. So you can just also go here to category, and let's go ahead and we can just actually just go down here on the, okay, just delete the, duplicate the pages or something here, categories, duplicate, just name these ones expenses. Okay, so the first one is create expense. And this is going to be expenses. So in the body, we need a couple of things. It's going to go ahead and copy them. Okay, copy these ones and let's go to here. I'm just going to paste them here. So we have the title. Let's just say here, office table. Here, office table amount of maybe 30,000 or 30,000. Description is not required, so you can just remove this. Attachments are not required. Expense date, it will also create automatically. Pay ID, so I want to put in these ones. The pay ID, so you can just come here to get payees. Let's just go get one here and come back here. Okay, so we need the category ID, which is expense category here. Go to get categories. It is supposed to be in office accessories. And finally shop. So you can just go to shops, get shops, and you can just copy this. Okay, so we can just go ahead and send this and expenses. Okay, so we have internal server error and probably just like because of the fields here. Let's go ahead and see dot category. Is this the error? Again, we have let's see. These ones are okay. Expense date. I'm just going to go back in the schema for a second. So these three, we are good. We have this, and probably amount is the problem. So this one's supposed to be int, and let's go ahead and push for that. So the amount is the integer, not a string. amount is an integer, or you could just even make it a float. Okay, now just go ahead and just create one more time. Okay, so you can see it has been created nicely. We can just create another one. You can just go ahead and just create office chairs. Just say this one maybe to 600,000, and you can just like create just like this office chairs. Okay, so we can just test other things like gate expenses. So here you can say gate really like gate expenses, and this one can be expenses just like this. You can see we get them here. Then we can just like go ahead and get a single expense. Let me just first go here and get the ID, and let's go ahead and just say get single expense and save. Let's go here and just say expenses and paste this ID, and we should just get a single expense. Then updating the expense, expenses, then this one, and we can just go to the body. So the expense we are just trying to update is the name is office chair. So I'm just going to say office chair updated. So you can just say here you can just actually copy this in the create. Maybe we just copy this. Otherwise, creating this would be. So you're just going to go inside here and let's paste this. I'm just going to say office chair updated. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and push this. So you can see it has been updated. And you can just go ahead and create the one for deleting test. So yeah, you're just going to go ahead and say test. And let's create this and let's get its ID. And let's go ahead here where we have this one is update expense, and then this is going to be delete expense, delete expense. Here I'm just going to say expenses, and then I can just add this and let's send, and so you can see successful if you go back to get expenses. Okay, so we have managed to add the expense to now the things we are having, and possibly we are getting more cross. Maybe we could just say uh, so there is one thing here that we could just, I think we could just like get do this. We can just like always do this on the front end for these ones, because gross profit will always be there for each specific shop and for each week, months, and how we calculated. I don't know if we go ahead and we add in the gross profit, but let's just leave it at that. We shall just like maybe add it in the near future. So yeah, it has been really nice. We still have some things to add on, but today I wasn't really fit even to make this. But I think for today that one can work. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please always subscribe. And to those who have subscribed, thank you so much. You can hit the notification and also hit the like. Most people who are just like here on my videos, I have more people who watch my videos, but to my supplies, most ahead and put most people videos. Please just watch the videos from YouTube. Most people tell me we have just downloaded your videos, they are so nice. Really, like, try to watch the videos on YouTube. It really, really saves me a lot. Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this episode. I'll see you in the next one.